Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today it is time to play another ladder live game for you, and this time around it's going to be a Zerg vs Zerg played on Laralak Crest versus none other than the Brutalisk. Now, I am feeling a little bit ballsy today. It is going to be the first game of the day, and many of you that watch the live stream know that usually I try to take the biggest risks early on into the game. If you've never checked out the stream before, I'll leave a link down below. But either way, I like to start off the day a little bit with some more aggressive play. So this is going to be the first game of the day. I'm still feeling mentally completely sane. I haven't been 13-12 and Zergling rushed all that much yet. So we'll go ahead and go hatchery first, into a gas geyser, into a spawning pool, and play a relatively macro focused game. Now, since my opponent just went for a drone scout, that could mean two things. First off, he could go for a macro focus play because he wants to figure out what I'm going for, and he wants to check if I'm going for any cheese, or he is going for cheese himself and he's checking where I spawn. Since it is going to be a four-person map, obviously, there's different spawn locations on this one. So I guess there's only one way to figure that out. I'm not gonna go for any kind of drone scouting myself, as I need all of the income in order to actually, you know, fend off any kind of incoming aggression. Now, if he is indeed going for 13-12, going for the drone scout is actually a pretty big loss. Economically scouting, like, it's not gonna achieve all that much. Looks like we did get lucky with our first overlord. Let's see what we are finding. I am saving up some minerals here just to be able to go ahead and make a whole bunch of Zerglings all at once. There's no queen in production. We should see one right now, though. Is it wobbling? It is wobbling. He's making droners. Woo! We got a macro game right off the start. Alright, that's good. Getting into Zergling speed as well. I already did produce just 6 Zerglings a second ago, and this time around it looks like it actually paid off for him to go for the drone scout, as I am forced here to make blind Zerglings in order to defend any kind of, you know, incoming defense, or incoming attack rather. And, you know, he is obviously allowed to make workers right here, because he knows that I'm not going to be able to put too much pressure onto him. Now, we do have a couple of options. First off, I could follow this up with Zerglings with upgrades. Very, very powerful, and actually something that I've done a lot of times before on YouTube as well. So instead, I'll focus on playing a macro focus game here as well. We'll see if we can focus down any workers. Any workers here would be extremely, you know, extremely nice. They get one drone there. It's actually better than nothing. And I think we want to go for a relatively quick third. So I did make an overlord, right? Please be an overlord. Oh man, I didn't make an overlord? That's pretty silly. Alright, let me do a single cheeky little, or like a double cheeky little extractor trick here. Squeeze out 2 more workers. And then we'll go ahead and hit the queen injects again. Start transitioning towards the third base a little early. This supply block here is actually kind of a big deal. We're losing out on a bunch of income. But as long as my opponent isn't planning on pressuring me too much, the third base could easily, obviously, come into play here as well. Now, one of the things that I got out of the coaching session with Neuro is the fact that I should really oh my god. The fact that I should really try and get the third queen a little early so it can help with early game defense, rather than get it after the hatchery is done. So, again, it is time right here to make a couple of Banelings just in case. You get back here. Okay, so I'm making sure I got all the queens hotkeyed on the same hotkey. My opponent, for some reason, made a lot of links there. Guess it's because he wanted to hold on to his own third base, which seems to be up already. Very early play by him. Very greedy. Oh, man. If I would have gone for any kind of Zergling cheese, I'm pretty sure I would have been able to beat him right up. But, oh well. No big deal. But I'll follow it up with a lot of workers ourselves. I highly doubt he's going for an all-in after this, because you wouldn't really be taking the risk at that point, so we're just gonna drone up greedily here, knowing we're gonna be slightly behind. But that's okay. Let me get a spine crawler just in case. We'll go ahead and put down the Evo chamber as well as, well, actually we shouldn't be putting it down over there. We'll put down the Evo chamber as well as the Roach Warren right down here. So I'm taking a risk right now, okay? I know fully well there's a big chance my opponent is gonna have the economy advantage. You obviously know that I scouted that third base and that I'm likely gonna be able to, you know, pressure it. As you can see, he's already been making a lot of stuff. Like, we see a lot of Zerglings constantly moving across the map. A lot more than I have. So even though he got that early game, you know, advantage, I suppose, he hasn't really gotten all that much out of it. Alright, just have to make sure we zone these guys away. Very good. And we'll start getting a lair up right now as well as drone up this base. So queen, get back in there. Get back in the fray. And we'll start moving out with the army that we have. Okay, let me move a couple of guys over to the third base. Make sure we get +1 missile going. And we'll see how many workers we got. So he's got barely no workers here. That's great for us. Like, he is forced to make defensive units here, while we are already having a relatively solid, you know, saturation there. He's got the first roaches out. That's nice for him, but even nicer for us because, well, I don't want to get stuck here. That's nice for us because he's likely not going to be able to break it here anyway, so we can just go full saturation. Obviously this is a risk, right? Obviously this is a risk. He could move across the map here, but because he knows I got Zerglings out on the map, I highly doubt he wants to risk that because they can just simply run by. So I fully saturated here on 3 bases, while taking a risk, obviously, but also taking calculated risks, right? Calculated risks are pretty much always going to be worth it. Alright. Let me get the final gas here as well. I am starting off non-stop unit production at this point. We'll do a little bit of roach, or like a little bit of overseer scouting too. And I'll go ahead and saturate that base. So we are done droning right now. I got all the drones that I would need in this match. Pretty much. I mean, I may get a fort base in a little bit, but I guess we'll keep an eye out on his fort base with our own, you know, positioning. And I guess we'll get some safety Ravagers as well. You stay right there, sir. There we go. Cool. So very high eco. Very, very high eco. Okay, it's gonna be a bit of a micro war. And it looks like we have done pretty well there. Cool. Roach Beat sadly isn't done yet. Almost is. Okay, we're going for his third. I'm getting a lot of units coming in right now. In the meantime, we'll wait for those. I guess I'll morph in some Ravagers and go for a fourth base. We'll also put down a Hydra den here that we're gonna morph into a Lurker den, potentially. Okay. Couple of free Overlords. Could potentially supply block him. The double Overlord snipe obviously is pretty big. Okay, we got a lot of stuff here. He's playing a little too aggressive. And you can see, like, the early game droning that we did actually turned out to be a huge advantage for us. Even though he got that base a lot earlier than we did, and even though, you know, technically speaking, we should have been in a deficit at that point, it doesn't turn out to be that way. At least not so far. We are transitioning here. We got a fort base coming up. We're definitely in a nice spot here. And my opponent says, GG, congrats. So, pretty basic game here. Pretty basic game. Opponent takes a risk. We scout the risk early enough. My opponent pauses the game. We scout the risk early enough and decide to basically think as my opponent, okay? So it's sort of, I don't know if you guys ever seen, what's that movie called? Mouse Hunt or whatever? Where the guy mentions you gotta, in order to catch a mouse, you need to think as a mouse. I like to sometimes think about that because basically in this specific game, I knew my opponent was forced to make early game units in order to defend incoming aggression that could potentially be coming out of me. Now, since I had the third queen out in time, and since I got a safety Baneling nest as well as a couple of, you know, a spine crawler up in the high ground, I could spend pretty much all of my larvae on getting a lot of workers out, and that is exactly what happened in this match. Alright, so here we are in the replay. My opponent decided to go for a very quick third base. He actually puts that down after getting the spawning pool. So it's like hatch, gas, pool, hatch. I think something like that. And then he goes for the double queen. After scouting that I indeed went for a hatchery first as well. I'm thinking that's the responsive play. Now, the main tab, whenever you're playing Zerg versus Zerg, usually the one that you want to look at is the Harvester count. And you can see, even at this point in time, he's already starting to fall behind in workers. And even though... Look at that worker advantage. I got 10 more workers than him. Even though he got that third base and he's mining there quite a bunch, this worker advantage is huge. Like, you gotta keep in mind, the worker mines for about 0.8 minerals a second. Every second that goes by right now, I'm getting about an additional 10 income. Or I'm gonna be a little bit less, but you get the point that I'm trying to say here. This has been going on for a couple minutes, right? Which means that even if these Banelings would blow up like 10 of my workers, I would still be at an advantage just because my stuff has been mining for longer. And I'm still drawing up, using the Zerglings that I got to try and put on a lot of pressure. And now that I've hit full saturation on 3 bases, I can actually start producing army. And you'll see the supply count, at least I can imagine, skyrocket very, very shortly. Just a very, very basic math type game where I just simply focused on workers early on. My opponent was forced to defend early on and wasn't scouting properly what I was doing. and, you know, he's forced to GG from there. So I hope you enjoyed watching this match. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you want to see more games, make sure you also hit that like button so I know that you want to see more of these live type games. And maybe a little bit of analysis at the end as well. Do you like that? Probably. Anyways, I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.